April 2nd, 2025 will go down as one of the most important days in modern American history.
Well, there you have it. Today is Liberation Day. Congratulations. You made it here. Now what? All right. So we're going to talk about Liberation Day. A lot of people are talking about stagflation, and I think I'm supposed to talk about stagflation, but I'll tell you why I think that this is all very good for crypto. How you doing? This is Joe from Joe Knows the Cryptos. Every day in crypto is an adventure, so make sure to like, subscribe, and do all those things right now so you can get on with watching this video. So right now, we are at a place where fear, the uncertainty, the doubt are absolutely captivating. You can even see it. This is the stock market. Extreme fear. Extreme fear. You can look at other signs in the crypto market. Extreme fear. People have sold. I mean, if you look at the crypto bubbles, I mean, it is absolutely, crazy. Last day has been okay, but look, the last week, bloodbath. Month, bloodbath. Why? Everyone is fearful of the tariffs. Why? Well, there's a big understanding that the tariffs and Liberation Day, reciprocal tariffs, automobile tariffs, steel and aluminum tariffs, that these are going to cause inflation, loss of jobs, and stagnation of growth. Well, that's stagflation. And so you think about this and you're like, well, these are all bad things. But, is it as bad as everyone's saying? Is it that bad? So again, stagflation, which I'm supposed to talk about according to pretty much every other talking head on the internet right now. And stagflation is, you talk about, high inflation. So inflation was about 2.8, 2.9% right now. It's not that bad. It's come down significantly. It's also with unemployment. Well, unemployment's still like 4.1%, which in my book, in all the economics class I took, that's considered full employment. Now, that's where we are right now. What is the other piece of it? High employment, high inflation, and stagnant economic growth. Well, we still have a growth rate, around, 2.8% also. So we're still right now, we're not seeing stagflation, but the fear is these tariffs are going to cause massive inflation, massive job loss, massive. The fear is, I hear this word fear all the time. Why do I hear that word fear? Well, think about it. There's been studies that have shown that if you are a news outlet, you get 49% more interest if it's a negative headline versus a positive one. So remember, the media is driving all of this fear. Why do they do it? Is it self-serving? Let's take a look at a couple of these little clips here, and you tell me the difference.
Tonight, the world on edge as trading partners wait on Donald Trump's tight-lipped tariff plans.
World on edge, tight-lipped tariff plans. It's going to be the end of the world. We're all going to die with tariffs that we've seen before, that all countries levy against us, that when we try to reciprocate, they lose their minds. Why is that? Let's listen to this gentleman. He seems smart.
Do you think that's sort of the base case here, is that we are going to see stagflation?
Yes, some mild version of that, right? Degrees matter a lot when it comes to stagflation. So if you have 1970 stagflation, which is certainly not our base case, that would be much more concerning. What we have built into the forecast is, you lose about a percentage point on GDP and you add something like that onto inflation, maybe a little bit less, right? That's not the end of the world. That's a cycle in which the expansion can continue. The Fed probably has to stay a little bit hawkish, but the decisions don't become so difficult for the Fed either. Now, if you go further down that road and you have close to a recession with 4 or 5% inflation, then I think the world becomes a much more unpleasant place.
Yeah, but these are all guesses and theories on what's going to happen. And I can tell you this, that they're usually wrong. There, I said it. They're usually wrong. Last year, we were talking about massive rate droppings and all these things. And then, tariffs come in and change the narrative. But it is a narrative. And what about the positive? How come we always look at the negative and say all of these negative things could happen? what if we do have positive results from it? What if the tariffs are just a means to negotiate better deals, right? Like I think about this and I'm like, why do we always go to the negative? What if they have what if these import tariffs create massive job growth in the United States because we can now be competitive back in manufacturing on the world stage. We produce a lot of technology here and we produce the technology here, but we build it elsewhere. What if we produced it here and built it here and sold it and people bought it elsewhere? Wouldn't that be good? What if the stagflation didn't happen? What if we had a boom of job growth with low inflation because we could better control pricing? What if we could reduce the cost of energy? What would that do to inflation? Wouldn't it bring it down? So instead of looking at the negative in all of these things, think about the positive. Now let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin and XRP and all these things. If you think about it, what is Bitcoin really made for? It's a hedge against the governments, doing whatever they want and inflating our currency. So is it possible that there might be a flight to quality towards Bitcoin? If you look at the price of Bitcoin right now, we're hovering around that $84,000 mark. We've been trading in this descending channel that we've bounced off it. We've tested it numerous times. It's a perfect descending channel. We're not rising above this line, but we're also not falling below this one. So if you think about it, we're poised. The consolidation, we're poised for a breakout. Now, is it gonna go farther down? Probably, because this is going to be a very, very volatile week. We're going to see lots of crazy moves until it picks a direction. Now, it could go down before it bounces up. It could go down, break below this line, and we have a long way to go. So, I'm not really trading this week other than the money I already have on the table, other than, things like easy buy. I might throw on a high leverage, like a super gamble risky play for people that don't invest and it's a gamble play just for fun to play the market. But really, this week is going to be incredibly volatile. All this tariff information is going to start, going through, and we're going to see retaliation from other countries until we find an equilibrium and deals are struck. But deals will be struck. But we have a lot to stand to win versus lose. So when you hear all these media outlets and all these YouTubers saying the world is coming to an end, sell your bags, which I'm astonished because that's the opposite effect. If inflation starts to happen, people are going to buy Bitcoin. That's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. None of this is. I'm just trying to entertain you with my nonsense. So if the inflation does happen, high unemployment, people aren't going to want to hold dollars. They're going to want to put that money elsewhere because they want to find a safe haven. But the reality is these tariffs probably are going to get resolved. Probably. Trade wars might happen, but look, we are the biggest consumer of goods in the world. We are the best customer in the world. We pay on time, even though we rack up our own debt to do so. And we have a huge customer base that loves consuming. And if it gets real bad, we're just going to give them money to buy stuff with so we don't get worse. So in any event, any way I shake this out, I've been thinking about how does crypto lose here? How does Bitcoin lose? And I just think it's poised for a massive, massive breakout. We've been in this channel for a while now. I mean, literally since Inauguration Day, we've been in this channel consolidating. You have the Trumps talking about what a positive thing Bitcoin is, what a positive thing crypto is. You have an administration that's behind crypto, owns crypto. We're done with the Gary Gensler days of the SEC and Choke Point 2.0. We have a whole brand new slew of administrators and that is pro crypto. It's only a matter of time, maybe short-term pain, but man, if it stays above this line here, even if it drops below, I still think the farther it drops, the farther it's going to rise. Now, unless Bitcoin, there's some kind of technological flaw no one's found yet, unless, the banks go to zero or someone buys all, I don't even know the situation, but there's a lot of potential for it to go up. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm staying positive. I'm not staying dumb. I'm looking at the data saying, is it going to zero? Because if it doesn't go to zero, which I think it's at that point where they call it too big to fail. And if we're at that point, well, when's it going to go up? When are we going to go up? I still think 120 to 150 Bitcoin. I said that at the beginning of the year. You can watch some of my older videos that show up at the end here somewhere. And I still think 120 to 150K Bitcoin this year, not financial advice, not your financial advisor. I'm going to play accordingly. And if you want to follow along, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.